This station is absolutely beautiful.
Feels like I've arrived at a lobby of a very, very expensive hotel.
China's been pouring millions into influencer campaigns, hoping drone shots and beauty filters can distract from a growing embarrassment. It's collapsing public infrastructure. No matter how glossy the marble floors or how grand the architecture looks on camera, the signature Tofu-Dreg quality always finds a way to show itself, sometimes in the form of black water crashing through the ceiling. What is happening to China's public infrastructure? Are these just freak accidents or early warnings of something deeper, something rotten inside the walls, the ceilings, the system itself? On June 26, 2025, Quzhou Railway Station, once a gleaming symbol of China's high-speed rail ambitions, suffered a stunning failure. At midday, with no warning and under clear skies, part of the station's ceiling suddenly collapsed. Water gushed through the breach, flooding the platform below and leaving passengers stunned. There was no rain, no storm, no natural excuse. Yet, no official explanation came. By nightfall, the area was sealed off and quietly cleaned up. Online searches for Quzhou collapse were swiftly censored, and state media redirected attention to normal rail operations. The silence was deafening and familiar. Censorship moved fast, following a well-worn script to bury signs of what many suspected: another Tofu-Dreg project cracking under pressure. Then, just days later on July 8th, tragedy struck again, this time in Chongqing. At 4:30 p.m., meteorologists issued a heavy rain warning. 2 hours later, the ceiling of Longfor Chongqing Xicheng Paradise Walk in Jiolongpo district gave way. A torrent of black water, possibly mixed with debris or sewage, erupted through the ceiling. Shoppers fled as the wave tore through shops and corridors, sending chaos through the building. 2 different cities, 2 different triggers, one unsettling pattern. Both collapses, one in dry conditions, the other in a downpour, exposed deeper flaws in China's urban planning and disaster prevention efforts. They also raised serious doubts about the effectiveness of the Sponge City initiative, launched in 2015 to make cities more resilient to flooding through advanced drainage systems, permeable pavements, and smarter urban design. But critics say many of these projects remain surface level, rushed, underfunded, or plagued by the same corner cutting that gave rise to the infamous Tofu-Dreg construction scandals. If sponge cities are supposed to soak up the shocks of extreme weather, why are ceilings still falling? And if Quzhou's collapse wasn't weather-related at all, what does that say about the materials and oversight behind the nation's proudest infrastructure? Tofu-Dreg, literally bean-curd residue, is more than a colorful metaphor. It's a term deeply embedded in China's modern construction vocabulary, referring to buildings and infrastructure that look solid on the outside, but fall apart under pressure, just like tofu. Born from the aftermath of major disasters, like the 2008 Sichuan earthquake, the phrase has become shorthand for a crisis of quality, one where weak rebar, watered-down concrete, and cost-cutting labor practices quietly erode public trust. Today, Tofu-Dreg doesn't just describe a poorly built wall or floor, it describes a pattern, a system, a national problem. Nowhere is that clearer than in the repeated failures of critical infrastructure, even in China's so-called model cities. Take Chengdu East Railway Station on July 3, 2025. In Sichuan, one of the most advanced transportation hubs in Western China, faltered after a summer downpour. The station's ceiling couldn't hold back the water, which surged through and flooded platforms below. Engineers pointed to overwhelmed drainage. But a sponge city is supposed to absorb water, not funnel it through the roof. On the very same day as the Quzhou collapse, another alarming case surfaced in Beihai, Guangxi. At Guyuan City Phase 2, a massive 280,000 square meters residential complex, a whistleblower named Mr. G captured a worker snapping 16mm rebar by hand.
A 16mm diameter threaded steel bar If it's up to standard, high-quality rebar should be able to bend slightly under pressure then return to shape. Normally, it shouldn't break, but out of 4 pieces tested, 2 snapped. Some could be bent, others couldn't. That proves there are internal flaws. We've dealt with this issue before, yet they still came back with a test report saying it was qualified.
Despite the steel being officially certified, it bent and broke like plastic. Mr. G faced backlash and threats after going public. But the footage was undeniable. This wasn't construction, it was performance art. And then, July 10th, Qingdao. In the Tangdao Bay community, a resident shared a terrifying moment. In the middle of the night, the ceiling of their living room collapsed without warning.
This is supposed to be rebar. Look at this rebar. It's like Tofu-Dregs. Damn it, the rebar inside is rusted so badly it's pushing the concrete up.
Chunks of plaster and exposed steel bars lay scattered across the floor. The steel was so flimsy, he shared. It crumbled at the slightest touch. If we hadn't been sleeping in the bedroom, the consequences would have been unimaginable. These aren't isolated events. They're symptoms of the same underlying disease, a construction culture that too often prioritized speed and image over safety and longevity. And while central authorities pledge reform, each new collapse reminds the public that Tofu-Dreg isn't going away, it's metastasizing. Tofu-Dreg construction isn't just a matter of poor craftsmanship. It's the result of deeply rooted systemic issues that stretch from village job sites to the highest levels of government. Behind every crumbling school, leaky station, or flooded mall is a web of corruption, speed, silence, and fear. Transparency International's 2015 survey, conducted by Chani Research, found that 35% of Chinese companies admitted to bribing government officials, often to win construction contracts. In their report, they noted, corruption has particular characteristics in China. Chinese leaders consider corruption to be a threat to the political system, and, therefore, a matter of great concern. Since 2013, President Xi Jinping's sweeping anti-corruption campaign has taken down officials, but many experts argue it's more about consolidating power than fixing a rot. On the ground, stories back this up. Zhao Niu, a Chinese college student whose uncle owns a construction company, told NPR that it's very common to use cheap materials while charging for premium ones. She also noted that corruption, it is the first thing that pops into our mind. We don't have to think about it because it's so common. Moreover, China's infrastructure miracle was built on speed. The country boasts over 42,000 kilometers of high-speed rail, entire cities built in months, and record-breaking construction timelines. But this pace comes at a price. Architect Lisa Aoazu-Wellman, who has worked in Japan, China, and the US, observed that China's low-quality, fast-paced construction practices often lead to structural flaws, shortened lifespans, or chronic leakage issues. Many buildings look modern, but start failing within a few years. In the US and other countries, architects, contractors, and inspectors serve as checks on one another. In China, these roles often overlap or are compromised. As reported by Smart Cities Dive, China lacks a true system of checks and balances. Engineers focus mostly on structural calculations. If a building won't collapse immediately, it passes. Cracks, weak materials, and finish problems are often overlooked. Those who speak up rarely do so safely. On July 8, 2025, a man known as Brother Qi exposed illegal sewage dumping in Henan online. Days later, he shared about how he was threatened for speaking up.
My personal safety has been threatened. Everyone, please listen to part of the recording first. What are you saying?
I just wanted to talk to you, see if you have any requests or demands.
What kind of demands could I possibly have? We're just dealing with that pollution issue. It's been going on for a long time and there are a lot of complaints. Just clean up this river and that's it. It's that simple. Don't overthink it, really. Hello? I said we don't want anything. Just clean up the river so the locals can use clean water, then it's fine. I've traveled all over the country. There's nothing else. Don't overthink it.
So that's the situation. What I mean is, we're just like you. We're also being pushed by our superiors. Because I'm from Hubei, and the leadership over in Hubei's Wuhan and northern Hubei is paying great attention to this matter. It's already been treated as a serious issue. When handling it, we also include reporting channels. Now it has officially been registered as a public security case for investigation.
How did you handle it so quickly? I just went there this afternoon and saw with my own eyes. Drone footage shows the entire river is still black, that whole stretch. How do you explain that? What is this thing about image, whatever that is? Look at my situation. It was a huge case all over national hot searches for a long time. Did anyone come to me saying they wanted to verify the video? No. In the end, it still wasn't resolved. You said I refused to communicate, that I avoided you. When have I ever refused to talk to you? Anytime you wanted to, I was available. What did I say wrong? You said I never responded. I'm here, aren't I?
Look, brother, even murderers get a second chance. You should know where to stop, okay?
Sometimes, it doesn't stop at veiled threats. It ends in real arrests, real charges, and real prison time. Speaking out, even in mourning or outrage, can cost someone their freedom. Liu Xiaokun, a teacher from Sichuan, was detained after taking and posting photos of collapsed school buildings in earthquake-hit areas in 2008. Instead of investigating why the schools crumbled, authorities punished Liu with 1 year of re-education through labor, a system that allows detention without trial. His family has been repeatedly denied visits since his arrest on June 25th. Despite promises from officials, they were turned away again on July 29th. Instead of pursuing accountability, said Human Rights in China Executive Director Sharon Home, the authorities are silencing concerned citizens like Liu Xiaokun. It's a move that not only undermines human rights, but shows deep disregard for the victims and grieving families of the earthquake. Liu's case shows how the system treats those who expose its flaws. And for some, those flaws point to something much deeper. To sum it up, Josh Beerenbaum of the Foundation for Defense of Democracies sees Tofu-Dreg construction as a symptom of deeper, systemic decay. In 2024, he warned that China's construction sector is plagued by corruption and facing structural issues that may be beyond repair. There are a lot of things going wrong that are fixable, he told CBN. But fundamentally, there are more things going wrong that aren't fixable. To him, these brittle projects reflect China itself, impressive on the surface, but crumbling underneath. What was once called the Chinese century now looks uncertain. Xi Jinping's vision of the China dream is fading, weighed down by a mix of internal failures and broken promises. People are dying under ceilings that were told were safe. Truth-tellers are locked up, not listened to. Nothing changes, because the rot starts at the top. Ceilings are just the beginning. The Tofu-Dreg epidemic now runs through highways, dams, and even China's prized EVs. If you want to learn more, check out our other videos exposing the full scope of China's crumbling facade.